time for another episode of Milkshakes with Michael. The bummer is, I already had my milkshake for the day. Had it a little bit earlier than had been planned because of a workout coming up a little bit later and a little difficulty actually going live here because of Wi-Fi issues. But we are here now. Florence, great to see you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope the week so far has unfolded with grace for you. I hope you've had moments that are meaningful to you, that you saw moments or experienced moments of joy amidst maybe moments of challenge and frustration. Shashin, good to see you, man. How's it going, brother? So today is a bit of a continuation from the topic that we had last week. Hey, Lisa. And I want to stay with a particular theme because so often, I hate to say it, in the space of like development or growth, self-help, however you want to categorize it, we tend to move from topic to topic too frequently, or too quickly, rather. Maybe both, too quickly and too frequently. We don't actually stay with a theme, um, a virtue, a quality long enough to fully like get into it and see how we can weave it into our lives. So it's tempting to create something new, right? Because people want, well, what new do you have to say? What's the new thing you want to share? Hey, Deanna. Deanna, congratulations to your Seahawks. An excellent game. So bask in the glory of a victory. So we tend to move on way too quickly. We don't let something set and to like bake in. So this month of February, what we're going to do is we're going to explore this pushing that we have, this pushing away, the aversion that we have to things, as well as a grasping or clinging to things. Now, grasping, you might hear that in the space of mindfulness. You might hear clinging, to verbs, but different. To me, grasping is more of a reaction. Clinging tends to be more of a long-term thing that we do. So a little bit different. Sometimes we grasp onto something. We grasp onto a handle because we feel shaky or unstable. If you've ever been in a train and it hits a bump, you might grasp for a handle. Clinging, though, we tend to white knuckle things. And that's that clinginess, this chronic hold that we have on things, which I'll talk through in a bit. That's where some of our constant suffering occurs. So we try through our practice, find ways to ease our grip, to let things be, and in some ways, maybe even let things go as a way to ease our suffering and find this middle space, maybe that middle space of equanimity. So we'll start again with a poem, much like we started last week. This one is a great one. I just love this one. It's by Dana Falls. It's a Lao. There's no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in. The wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failure, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becoming simply burying the truth. And the choice to let go of your known way of being, The whole world is revealed to your new eyes. Ah. This poem has definitely the spirit of Rumi's Guest House. As she writes, resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Rumi would say, close the door to your guest house and the visitors may still come. They actually might just run down the door, if you will. Allow, open the door to your guest house, and grace will carry you to higher ground. So when we fight something, when we resist, it can sweep us off our feet. When we allow for what is to be here and meet it in that way with awareness, with acceptance, which doesn't mean that we're happy with the situation. It just means, hey, it's like this. In Buddhist teaching and sort of the underpinnings of mindfulness, he spoke to a lot of ways that we cling to things, or on the other side of the coin, push things away. It can be that sensual feelings that we have, sensual pleasure, right? With the weather. It's too hot, it's too cold. We might we might feel sensations in the body. It can also be grasping or clinging onto material things, material possessions. Just hold onto them so tight because we believe it shapes our identity in the way we wish our identity to be shaped. Status is a big one, right? Clinging to that the number of followers perhaps, and I see this all the time on Substack. How do you get more followers? Basically, the post should be, how do I get more status? With the belief that somehow status will complete us more. And I get it. I'm here too, right? You feel like you have something you wish to share and you want so many people to hear it. And that could be a really great intention, an intention of giving and sharing the message. But what I see happening, which happens on all social platforms, it's the chase after, I just want more. I want my voice to be louder, bigger, more, louder, stronger, bigger, all of it. Like, that status. We just we cling to it. Because if we don't have a certain status, then hey, who the heck are we, right? What will we become without a certain level of status? We also cling to a lot of viewpoints, beliefs, things that are handed down generation after generation. Oh, well, this is just what I believe because I've always believed it. My parents believed it. My grandparents believed it. I too believe it. And we just cling to that belief. We can't bear to let go of it. Because if we do, then something has to change. We also cling to the right way to do things, right? The right view, the right way. When Buddha talks about his Eightfold Path, through translation, it comes across as, well, right speech, right effort, right mindfulness. And what it really speaks to is really an approach that eases suffering, but doesn't add to suffering. Because when you think about the right way, language through translation of the Eightfold Path, then there must be a wrong way. But really, what he's trying to address is a pathway to ease suffering and another pathway that adds to suffering. So we have all these different ways that we cling to things as a way to shape our identity. In fact, we can cling to our own identity. And when we grasp that too tightly, if we don't find a way to like let things go, as Dana says, in the choice to let go of your own known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new eyes. So when we can ease our grip, then new possibilities can emerge. So Florence, I've learned that the things we resist are the things we need to look at. Yeah. So, and the things we grasp are the things that we need to let go. Yeah. Or simply just let be. Some things are so powerful that we find it even challenging to let them go completely. But we can certainly be in relationship with them differently. We can let them be. They can hang out, they can let us watch, and they can watch us do our thing. But often things can be so powerful we can't completely let them go. So letting go, letting be, all of it points to easing our grip a bit. Now, when we think about this letting go of not resisting, it can feel very passive. We're right now, at least in the northern hemisphere, in winter, and so it's a season of it feels dormant, it feels cold. We spoke about this as we reviewed fire and ice last week from frost. We tend to in the wintertime, we can withdraw even. And with all that's happening in the world, sometimes that just doesn't feel well, for some people, it feels like the right thing to do, but this time, as people talk about it, it's like it's an inflection point. We're going through a portal. We're on a threshold. All those different analogies. It it can feel like a calling to like resist and to fight and push against, right? So that's where the pushing comes into play. But often when we push and we resist, it pushes back, and there's just a big tug of war. What Buddha talks about is just trying to find this middle way. Again, going back to last week in fire and ice, it's like finding enough warmth to care about these things, but enough coolness in our approach to be thoughtful. What Dana writes about in her poem or shares is that we can't control life. And how often do we try to actually do that, right? We want a sense of stability, of groundedness. When the world feels so uncertain, and it's always been uncertain, but given the fact that we have technology that will zap breaking news to us in every moment of the day. And now, instead of just knowing what's happening in your local community or maybe a national paper or national news broadcasts, totally dating myself here, there was a limited amount of information in real time that we heard and could process. Now, thanks to our phones, thanks to our laptops that we all carry around with us, we can get breaking news that may not even be breaking news around the clock. So there's so much coming at us. So it feels perhaps even more uncertain or unstable today than, say, 10 years ago or 15 years ago or if, 30 years ago. Things felt slower back then. Things could unfold at their own pace. At least that's the view of that nostalgia gives us. Back then, it was still very uncertain. If you've lived through the '70s, that was a very uncertain time, especially here in this country. That said, the uncertainty we feel right now today is the uncertainty that we feel. It's very valid. So, yeah, it's quite natural to want to grab onto things as a way to feel stable, grounded. And although that might be the natural desire, what could serve us better is to ease our grip on all that stuff. bring a level of softness, not weakness, but softness into our approach to life. So we can find this middle way to see what can unfold when we let go of or let be certain aspects that we're clinging to. So this part of the practice requires awareness. It also requires acceptance. And again, as we've talked about in the past, acceptance doesn't mean that we're happy with the situation. It just means that we recognize it as is. The weather could be a good example. If it's snowing out, um, the best thing to do is accept that it's snowing out, maybe dress a bit more warmly, and grab your shovel because Mother Earth has a way of winning 100% of her arguments. So the work that we get to do is to continue on this path of understanding what we might be pushing against and resisting, fighting, and what we might be clinging to. Yesterday, in one of my notes that I shared here on Substack, I shared that Kaizen, the Japanese philosophy to get 1% better every day, is bullshit. And I've labeled that as such just to gain people's attention because Kaizen is a belief that's been passed down from generation to generation. Get 1% better every day. And many influencers out there will take the concept and say, if you could get 1% better every day, you'd be 38% better by the end of the year. And who wouldn't want that, right? 38% richer, 38% stronger, 38% better looking, 38% happier, like whatever you want to use to fill in the blank. 30%, 38% of what you're searching for is like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna get on this whole Kaizen bandwagon. I'm gonna ride this train. Completely new me by the end of the year. 38% better me. But the deal is that that's not how we change. We don't change in a linear fashion. Some days we, especially when we're starting something new, we might get 10% better in a day. We could get 50% better in a day. A lot of this depends on where we start from. Some days we might get 3% better. Of course, how do we actually measure this? Well, some metrics are pretty hard and pretty clear, easy to measure. Others are a little fuzzy, harder to measure. But there's also some days where we might have a step backwards. We might get 1%, you know, weaker if we're talking about strength. And some days, because we want to work hard, we want to create a good level of tension and stress so we can take those steps forward. Some days we need to recover. Some days we should recover. And that's where we actually get some of the best growth, but we don't necessarily like progress on those days. Some days are flat. We make no progress whatsoever. So change happens this way, ups and downs and plateaus, sometimes with moments of great acceleration, sometimes with moments of great retreat. We go through seasons just like nature because we are nature. And I think this is a more welcoming approach to how we think about growth. If we buy into the belief, when we cling to this belief that Kaizen is like it's like, oh my God, it's so awesome. I'm going to tattoo that all over my body. Then we potentially set ourselves up for disappointment, failure, and suffering because we can't do it all the time. And with like anything, it could work for some people. And certainly some people will be like, this is what I'm doing, 1% better every day. And again, how they measure it, that's up for debate. And they'll post something like, this is what I did. You should do this too. I embrace this fully. This is the secret, people. You should do exactly what I did. But that also is misguided because growth, if you will, well, there are some basic building blocks, some foundational building blocks. But each person, each of us has our own recipe. What works for someone may not work for everyone. Even mindfulness. Mindfulness can be a wonderful practice to get to know yourself, to get to know what you're pushing against and what you're clinging to. But it's not for everyone. So I think one of the biggest things that we could ease our grip on is buying into things that are put out in this self-help industry that we go along with. We don't apply any discernment to them. We're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna do it. This is the way I'm gonna do it. And we cling to it and cling to it and cling to it, but it may not be the panacea that we think it is. So so there you have it. So this week, again, we used Fall's poem Allow. And I encourage you as you go throughout the week, and we'll come back next week with another session, another milkshake, is get curious with yourself. What are you pushing against? What are you clinging to? And see if you can ease your pushing just a bit and maybe ease your grip just a bit to find that middle path. And in that middle path or that space, that's your real freedom. That's when you can be very thoughtful and very intentional with what you say and do next. So, and I hope you'll join me on Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern. We have another beautiful way to end a week with a loving kindness or a meta practice. Hey, Ed, good to see you. And yeah, I hope you'll join me and join our circle of people who do the practice. There's nothing quite like meta as a practice, even for people who've never meditated before. And the research does suggest that it can make quite a difference when it comes to building community and togetherness. It's a beautiful way to extend kindness and love to the people you know and to complete strangers and to all creatures and to pour into yourself. So, yes, I hope you'll join me and others on Friday. And yeah, this week, see what you can allow. And may our practice together benefit all living creatures. Keep pedaling, peeps. I'll talk to you next week. Bye bye.